Hi and welcome to today. I'm Amanda and I'm taking you on my 31 days of essential tools and supplies. My essential tools and supplies may be different from yours, but today we're going to be playing with. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's session. If you're just joining me, this is the 31 Art Studio Essentials, my 31 Art Studio Essentials, the things that I use a lot of the time and use across different disciplines and arts and craft work that I do in my studio. So today we're going to be looking at mark making tools, and you know there are a variety of different tools that you can use, that you can buy, but I want to encourage you to maybe look at those things which you may have around you already. The ones that I've got that you can see here, a lot of them are the ones that I would that I found around the home, and I've got some more here that are mostly ones that I have brought. So let's have a look through. So you can see, what you can see here is you can see pens, basically pens, and I'll separate the pens from, say, things that I've brought. You can see syringes. The syringes, these are from, you know, when you get those, you can refill your printer ink. So that's where these are from. Okay, this is from a brush. You've got a stick there. So I'll put all the pens together and then all the other things. Okay, so I go through a lot of pens. I journal every day, and then I'm using the fine liner pens in my art materials. Not mark materials. I'm using it in my art journals and things like that. So mark making tools, you can, you know, find a range of different things in which that you can use. And the thing about this is that until you experiment, you are not going to know how it looks, or you know whether you how you can use it, how it will fit in terms of the kind of stuff that you like to do. And I think most of us will have some form of mark making tools in your supply. So it's definitely worthwhile having a look around the home and seeing what can be utilised. So as I say, I've got loads of pens, and the pens can be used in several different ways to create marks. And I would either do it on a canvas. Actually, is there a canvas I've got? I would either do it on a use them on canvases or in my art journal, and the journal that we've been using throughout has been this one. So I'm going to utilise this and just really show you how some of the marks look. And the other thing that I'll be doing, because I'm teaching on a course, the Badass Art Journal course, and I'll leave the link below. I'm doing a session on gesso and making marks, I think I am, yes, and creating a journal page. But we're going to have a look through some of these. Now this is what I would use for clay, so, but if you were going to use it as a mark making tool, you know, you can create some spots on the page. So I've got this page here, and all I've done is I've gessoed it. I've added I started out adding some washi tape. I've got some stamping going on here, and then I've gessoed on top. And we're just going to have a play with some of these mark making tools. So the thing about, again, your supplies is that, you know, the supplies can give you endless amounts of fun. But again, as I say, you have to play with them. And if you're not going to play with them, you're not going to know to what extent, you know, a simple pen can, the effect that it can have on a painting. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I've got pens that I've taken apart. I've got the plastic bit. There's two different size end pieces there. If I take this out, this is a third one. Yeah, let's just take that out. So if you break down your pens and things like that into, you know, their individual states, so take it apart, so everything's finished, you know, there's no more ink in there to be had. There are several things that you can do with it, and we'll even do this one. Okay, this has got this pen has got like a round edge, so I just keep everything in here. I've got more pens here. As I use a pen, as I've used up a pen, I'll just put it in here, because as I say, there are things that you can utilize with it. You can do other different projects with it. So we're going to have a play with some of these and see what effects we can get. This, I need to put this in my paper supply. Let's have a look. Okay, let's get some paint. So I'm just getting some paint here. This is a black translucent paint, and we've got red here. Not chosen these particular colours for any reason other than wanting you to be able to see it on the paper. Okay, so the other thing that I have here are, you can either use old credit cards. I don't know what you do with yours when you've run out with them all, or other cards that you can get. So I've cut this one in two, so I can have a shorter, because I use it either on its long side or its shorter side. So now what, I've got a shorter side that I can create some things with. So let's have a look. Let's begin. So I would just apply paint to the end of a card, and this is one of the ways in which I would use it. So it's good that it's translucent, because you can still see the washi tape underneath and some of the stamping. Okay, so that's the big one, and let's do the smaller one. Okay, so I'm just going to do the smaller one there, you see. So again, it's not again, is it? Let's come in. So just from something, you know, free that you've had, you can create interesting effects just by using the end of a card. And you can actually create a whole painting with just the cards and different parts of the cards. And as I say, that's why it's useful to be able to play. So you can create other shapes like this. You see, I'm just using, again, using the tools that I've got in a different way. I'm going to rub the rest off on here. So nothing goes to waste. And then what I can't rub off, I'll just use the dryer sheet and rub it off. Okay, so let's use something else. Now this I got, this is like one of those tooth kits, and it comes with this like mirror that you can look at your teeth. I'm not sure, this is what, a tongue cleaner I think, but it's got a nice shape that you can, you know, again, create some nice shapes. Now you can either run it down the page so it's narrower in terms of, you know, the smaller card, and then you can use the tip and make marks. You can come down the edge, so I'll go closer for you. You can go on the edge and make kind of lines there, or as I said, use the tip and make marks, or again just make a broader line, and we'll just rub the rest off. Or look at that, see, that's just by accident. So you can run it through itself. This is useful if you're using gesso and you want to create some texture on the page. So I use the cards a lot because, I'm just going to go over it now. I use the cards a lot because when you smear the paint on the paper or the card, it dries really quick. Yeah, so this will be, you know, you'll be able to touch dry this pretty quickly. So I'm going to use this same instrument in my what I've already done and go over some of the things that I did before. And then I did a scrape down, didn't I? Scrape down. I wonder if you'd get that effect if you did it with the red, because the red's more opaque, isn't it? So with the translucent paint, it's always going to be lighter. Okay, so I'm just rubbing it off now and cleaning this. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do with my supplies if I was just, I'm just going to take some blue out, and I just really want a little bit. It's really thick, so I'm just going to use this, taking up some paint, and again, so I can use this to smear the paint on and just create, like, you know, just create a background, or I can dip it in and use it as, like, I'm just dipping it the end in and then creating some small dots. So again, this is a fun way to be able to create a background. Again, especially if you're limited, you've got limited time, and you just really want to do something. Oops. You just really want to do something creative, but you don't want to actually, you know, you don't have the time to do so. Okay, let's go out there. I've got some other things that I want to try, but I just need to clean them as I go along. So this dryer thing comes in handy. I've got this. There used to be a brush on here, and the brush fell off. The brush fell off, and I thought, well, you can still use it. I can use this end. I'm going to put it in this blue paint, and I can create some shapes here or here. That's a nice circle, isn't it? I do love this colour. This is azure blue. Azure blue. I can use the edge and just run it along here. There's no, like, set, this is what I want, how I want it to look. I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to, or use the red now. I'm going to use this end bit that we had the brush on. You can drag it along the page, and it looks like it's giving it a kind of comb effect. Let's do it down here. I'll give you a close-up in a minute. I'm going to come in with some blue. I really love these colours. The red and the blue together look absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take these two down like that. And then obviously you can use the end of this, and for most of them you can use the end and create some lines. And these are shapes that you wouldn't get if you were using a brush. I mean, obviously you can recreate these with depending on the brush, but if you imagine having to buy all the different types of brushes so that you can get this effect, when you can get the same effect with some of the tools that you have around, and not having to, you know, splash out lots of money on buying the tools. So anything extra I'm just going to rub off on to another page. Okay, so you've seen that. Let's try the pens now. So I've got the inside of the pen. So again, we're going to get some, you know, like lines, depending on how far. You can get longer lines, so we'll put ink along the brush like that, and I'm just, sorry, the inside of the pen, and I'm just going to lay it on the page. So again, we're getting lines, and if I press it and roll it, you'll get some, it's just another shape really. You just roll it along there, or drag it along there. You just get a different effect. And because this particular paint is translucent, it's you'll still see some of the paint underneath. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just go with the pointy bit of the not the pointy bit, the bottom bit, and we've got some smaller dots there. I'll go with the nib bit, sorry, the nib bit, and see what kind of dots I can get. So these are even tinier, but and you can use these when, and I'll show you again, when you're trying to create additional visual interest on the paper with the paint. What else can we do? Like, hello? It's all live, you see? Live and direct. Okay, so the same pen that I had, which was this one. Was it this one? No, it was this one. So I'm going to use the base of this one. Again, I can create some circles now. I don't think you can really see that really well. I'm just going to work in this area then. So I can get some circles like this. So obviously you can, this is something you can do with stencils as well, but obviously we're looking at mark making tools that you can get so many different patterns and shapes from. Let's use the blue. Like that, you see, and if I turn it over, turn it round and use that end, Let's see what we get. Let's do it there. Oops. It's not as clear in terms of the dot that you would get. It's another kind of, you know, circle there. Okay. And I'm going to try this one as well. So I'm going to use it in this space here. So I'm going with the red now, and I've just put red on the end. And this also works really nice, so we can use the edge of it to create a line. This also works really nice to create texture in using gesso. What's the other thing? I wanted to leave this until last, but what's the other thing I was going to use? I've got some palette knives. Obviously, palette knives can give you some nice shapes. Things like, I brought these specifically for my clay work. I don't necessarily use like this hand bit, so that might be something that I decide I can utilise. I do use these bamboo sticks a lot to mix paint, but again, you can get some pretty nice little round circles and things like that on the page. So and then with both points you can sometimes write in the paint. Just move it up so that you can see. So you can write in the paint, and then but you can also get some nice dots going, or you know, lines, again lines, or you can create some shapes. You can do some, you know, shapes, or write some words. It's supposed to be a heart. Or what I can do is, you know, do a dot heart, do the blue round the heart. You know where, you know, yeah, anyway. You see that? There we go, yeah. And I can, still using the bamboo stick, put some paint along the edge. And again, I can use it for either some lines that I wanted to create, or I can run it down the page and just rub it in a bit, rub in some of the paint, especially if not all of it's dry. I can use it to move some of the paint around. You know, it's endless possibilities. And then this last one, this is a pizza cutter, and I thought I'm surely going to be able to do something with this. So I've just put some paint at the end. I'm just seeing, I've never used it before. Oh. Okay. So I can run it across. I guess this would actually come into its own if you, okay, so like you say up here, we'll put a lot of paint. So applying paint, and I'm rubbing it, the excess off on here. Okie dokie. Alright, let's move some of these out of the way. And then I could, again, take in the end run this into the paint and create lines, or I can create a texture. So adding gesso to this, I can create texture. Put it on really thick and, you know, writing in the gesso, and then any excess just rubbing off around the edges wherever you want to add more colour. Really simple. Like so. So there you see, there it goes. Let me clean this off. So with very few materials, you don't even have to go out and buy any if you didn't want to, but just look around and utilize some of the ones that you have. Like, I'm even looking at these pens here. So these are, I used to use these a lot in journaling, and they've got these patterns at the end. I don't think I will get much from them, but I'm gonna try anyway. Nothing to write home about, but because they have, did I show you? Look, so it's just down there. Because they have that particular shape, they've got like a pattern. You know, sometimes you can pick up that pattern. So you might have been able to pick it up using gesso. We're not going there at the moment. Okay, so very simple materials, very cheap supplies that you don't even have to go out and buy. But if you do buy something, again, that's why it's worth thinking about what you have and thinking about how you can reuse it in some way, or use it for a different activity. And little did I know when I brought the printer inks refill that I don't refill anymore, that this was going to come in handy. I didn't want to throw it away, and I could, even if I wanted to, I've taken it out of there, I could drop this in the paint. Let's go for the blue, and again make a nice big circle. Look at that. That's nice. Yeah? So before you know it, you're making some really nice abstract imagery without having to go out and buy any fancy materials and supplies. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope that you know, you're able to go out and start playing with your supplies and seeing how to use them in a different way, seeing how a lot of this tools that you have, you probably have got a lot of tools already that you can utilize, and then just go out and play and just spend, look, I mean, however long this video is, this is how long it's taken just to do this page. And it's a really great way to be able to, you know, take some time and then just add something to the paper, and then I can go away, I can let this dry, go away, and when I come back I can do something else with it. Okay, so as I normally do when I've got paint on the palette, I do not waste it. What I will do is just scrape it off and add it to a page. Now this is just the black and the red, side by side, as you can see. On the page already, you've got where I had stenciled another page and then used the excess on this page. I've still got excess paint, so I'm just going down another page. I've got some of that blue still there, so I'm just coming down the page, not thinking about trying to recreate anything in particular, but all I'm thinking about is making sure that all the paint gets used up, because I finished this activity. So that could be, as I say, you know, that could be a couple of pages that you create. This one was just the excess paint, this one was just making marks and playing and thinking, oh, next time I'm going to utilize that one even more, because that's just a syringe head and I've got another syringe head here. How can I utilize that, you know? Or the cards, you know, let me use the smaller card to maybe do something, spread the paint or whatever. Let me use the wider card to spread the paint. So I hope that's helped, especially when you're thinking about creating a background and you just want to do something really quick, really simple. And I will be doing some more backgrounds, and you can play along, you know, whatever ideas you can come away with, take away with it, and then maybe even create something out of that. I love creating faces, so I would normally find a face within this. The other thing I might do is also add gesso, because I know I've added gesso at the bottom, the underneath the painting, not the painting, at the bottom on the paper, but see, this is the other syringe, so again it's a different effect, and I'm not thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to do this particular face, so I need to paint in these particular areas. I'm just painting wherever I feel, and then wherever the face is supposed to come out, that's where it's going to come out. So as you can see, again, just utilizing different parts of the syringe. I'll even use the head part, and let's have a look over here. If we do this, oh, you even get the hole there. See, it's definitely worthwhile spending time, because look, and as it dries out, you get an even nicer effect. As there's less paint on it, it gives you a really nice effect on the paper. Oh, there we go. I'm going to stop there because it's tempting to just keep going, and that's what you'll find if you only have 5 minutes but you really wanted to spend 15 minutes. Sometimes you can squeeze out that extra few minutes because you're actually beginning to enjoy yourself and you're allowing yourself to play, rather than thinking, oh, you know, I've got to have 2 hours, and if I don't have 2 hours I can't do anything. So simple page that you can create using supplies that you already have, looking around, looking at them in a different way to see how you can utilize them to the best effect. So I will leave it there for now, and I'm so glad you were able to join me today and see what you can do with mark making materials, and you know, and spend time in a journal just quickly creating a background. I guess further along the line, I might, before the end of the course, I might try and utilize this a bit more. I'll be working on this, be working on the 2 pages, so we've got this one as well. But what I'll do is try and see if I can finish one off, or that might be for another time. All right, thanks for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed watching, and you have had your interest piqued, and you've come away with some ideas to take forward for yourself. Alright, so take care for now. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay, bye.